Okay, guys, we're here over at, I don't know, who did I get this from? Anyways, existing home sales fall to slowest pace since 2009 amid rising costs. Now, this does not freak me out the way that the article would want you to if you just read the headline.
Yeah.
Because the entire financial system was different in 2009 than the way it is now. Our entire qualifications that preceded 2009 are different than the way they are now. So the whole existing home sales fall the slowest pace. It's pace, not volume. Yes, volume and pace run down the street hand in hand, but if you have more inventory and we have more closing cost credit like we talked about, then I think we're going to actually see a more normalized spring and summer. And then what's going to happen, you get to the fall, oh, we've had the best spring and summer we've had in the last 5 years. Mark my words.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is when you read this article, as soon as I read the headline, I was like, we're going back there again? Like, whoa. But you know, the data doesn't predict that. If we're going into a recession, housing recession, in the way this article makes it seem, that would usually, like the 2008, took about 5 years before we got there. That would mean that would take us all the way to like 2029, 2030 for us to really see that. Mm-hmm. So if people are looking like, hey, we're going to go into recession, I'm going to get the best price. The data doesn't show that. We have a strong labor market, you know, and that's why it is a healthy market that we have right now. Until we start seeing the unemployment rate go down, that's when we have to really consider these other facts.
You mean unemployment go up? Yeah.
Go up, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go up. I mean, say, yeah.
No, it's okay. And one of the things, and I'm jumping in here because if you go to the bottom and you see that last paragraph there, on here it says, with mortgage delinquencies at historical lows. That's part of the reason why. The whole lock-in effect that happened in 2020, 21, 22, and a little bit of 23, getting lower rates, and now we have equities that have gone up and then stayed up. Like, that's part of why there's no pending doom crash, because even if people do have a delinquency issue, if they have equity, they can still sell, which then the sale becomes a listing, which is inventory, which then there may be concessions in it if they have equity, and if they have to do a price reduction to get a buyer in, they'll do that, which now is exactly what we just led this whole show with, which is the environment of real estate is alive and working. It is not broken, as you might be led to
and
believe.
This is the most equity homeowners have ever had in their homes, ever. So it's not like then the other thing that we have to consider, the most homeowners have the lowest interest rate they've ever had.
That chart is crazy.
Yeah, so when we were looking at that, people had between under 3%. It was like, I forget what the data was, but it was incredible to see that.
And even under 6%. I think it was like 85 or 90% of loans are under 6% or something like that. It was either 6 or 6.5. Like, don't quote me on the stat, but it's some ridiculously high percentage at a historical good interest rate, like 6 or 6.5, all things considered, not in the last 5 years. I get it. But the people that are at 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5%, it's the majority of homeowners. It's not even close to being tilted in the opposite direction where this might lead you to want to go. I do want to talk about the amount of annualized inventory that they're referencing, though, because this, to me, they say it dropped. The annual seasonally adjusted sales volume dropped, but it's still 4.02 million. So annualized, what they're saying is that in 2025, we'll still see 4 million homes change hands this year. Which is $1 million a quarter. Which is a lot. I mean, so that's 333,000 per month. Okay.
It's because our norm is around 6 million. That's the norm.
Right.
You know, and so we're not hitting there. This is going to be the 4th consecutive year of the lowest home sales we've seen. But
it's higher than it was like at 2.5 million a couple years ago, right? So it's like, okay, we've come from 2.5 and the gutter. Now we crossed 3.5. We're at 4 million, which is healthy. Yes, current listings, like you were saying earlier, is like 758 or 719,000 of current listings. But our annualized volume, I think, is where I have my eye set on.
Correct.
And the evidence is all there based on your comments earlier. You brought up Texas. You were bringing in the South and the Midwest, and that's what you see here by region. So by region, the Northeast for existing home sales is an annual rate of 490,000. In the Midwest, the rate is 950,000. In the South, it's 1.8 million in the South. And then in the West, it's only 770,000. So I did the quick breakdown numbers-wise because I'm a nerd, right? So of our total 4 million expected this year, 12% come from the Northeast, 23% will come from the Midwest, 45% will come from the South. So nearly half of our sales this year are going to come from the South. and then only 19% from the West.
So what does this mean for buyers and sellers?
It means that if they want to be in the market, you need to get in the market. You need to get prepared. You need to be ready to strike when the iron's hot.
Thank you. So what I was going to mention is that I feel that this is a perfect runway for buyers that are prepared right, that are in there getting their reps. Because if we see properties, staying on the market for longer, those are all opportunities for you to negotiate, for you to get in there and get a deal that benefits you. So I think right now for buyers, if you're noticing this, storm right now, I think you could use it to your advantage to be able to snag a good deal, but only if you're in the game and you're actively window shopping or actively participating in submitting offers so that you can really get a test for the waters and see what you're up against. On the flip side, if you're a seller, price your house to this type of market. Don't get stuck in pricing of last year, the year before that, because that's the reason perhaps that your property's sticking on the market for longer. Yeah. I get it. You're emotionally attached to your property. You put a lot of sweat equity into it, but chances are that isn't going to be what pushes your house to a higher price point. So make sure you're making it enticing for the buyer, enticing for people that want to come and see and submit offers on your property. And how do you do this? By marketing it aggressively. And you might not want to hear this and you might take this as the wrong way, but maybe giving yourself a runway to get that purchase price up is going to get you a lot more views and submitted offers than if you go high. And I feel that's just going to get you people to want to come down.
And here's another uncomfortable truth. When push comes to shove, you're going to do what you got to do to sell your house.
Yeah.
It's just the way it goes. And I don't mean you're going to get your arm bent by a buyer and you're going to have to, tap out. I'm saying that sometimes if you have a life situation happening, when the chips fall, you're going to end up doing what you got to do to get that place closed.
Just this week, I got a call from a listing agent, one of my buddies, Miguel. He's helping his dad sell this property. He's like, hey, we just did a price reduction. And on top of that, we're offering a year of HOA, and we can either bring the rate down or give buyers credits. So
I haven't heard the year of HOA thing before. Yeah. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, and I've been working with some buyers, and I've been telling them, hey, HOA is above 500 in 2 months. You're 1,000 in. So if you're able to take some of those credits and apply them towards a few months or a year of HOA, that's going to save you just a few $100 in a monthly payment.
Yeah, I know the insurance thing was happening because of the the premium increase that's been happening, or people not getting insured anyways, or just being so exorbitant it's hard to get. But I didn't know the HOA thing. That's a strong one. I can see that
I've
actually
recently been
increasing in popularity.
Yeah. I mean, Brian, you bring up a good point. You got to price your home right. I have a couple of clients here, the ones that were in Alabama, they had to sell their property there. They put their home in Alabama and literally sold in 4 days. I have another client that actually lives here in San Diego. They put their house on the market. It lasted 16 days, and that's what happens when you list the property at the right price. Things will happen, And so I also agree with you, Brian, because there's been times where I know myself personally, I felt like, damn, right in front of my father-in-law's that were selling his house, right? It was going for 1.3. And at that time, I thought the housing market's it can't be going up this quick. This is crazy. This is 2018. It's close to a 5,500 square foot home. And I'm like, but you know what? I don't need it. Hindsight is 40-40. I wish I would have got that, right?
Well, knowing what we know now and where we're at, the family grew.
Did you just say hindsight is 40-40?
Yeah, 40-40 for me. And I had to say that because that's what it is for me. It's at 40%.
I love you.
It's the best.
And so looking at that, like, man, I should have got into that. I should have. Then that was across the street. The neighbor to the left of them, that was going for $930 a year prior to.
I know.
And that was because the yard wasn't done.
I know.
But I went in there and looked at it. I'm like, I don't like the layout. I don't like this. But if I would have just took the shot, just would have gone with it, we could have done it easily, not a problem. And I would have been laughing all the way to the bank right now.
And what's that place at? 1.6 or something?
No,
the
one at 2.4.
The one that was 990 or 930 or whatever?
The one across the street's 2.5.
Right. Okay.
It's 2.5.
The one to the left.
The one to the left, they ended up buying for the 9 and change. But they ended up putting the ADU and all that stuff. So it's probably worth right now about the same.
Dang.
So it's just those little things. And
you just said those little things about $1 million purchase is now 2.5.
When I say it's the little things about just sometimes if you're in that position, right? Like, I'm not saying you have to go buy right now. No, I'm not saying that. But if you're able and you're qualified to buy right now, like, really pay attention to those small little, crumbs of success there.
Yeah.
Like, this thing, it's going to level off. I know the tariffs and all that stuff is happening right now, and it's creating a lot of uncertainty out there, but that's when you want to take advantage of it. When people are selling, you're buying, and vice versa.
Yeah, I think this is the same kind of thing that was happening after the 08-09 collapse, right? And you said, like, about in 5 years, everyone started, like, kind of picking it back up again. So by 2011, those people were early, if you will. Yeah. Then the mass majority was like that 2013, 2014. And I think you bought your place now at 2013, right?
Yeah, 2013.
Okay? 2013, and look at it now.
Yeah.
The difference is you skip forward to now. People are having that same kind of sentiment, but we haven't had the market drop. Yeah. So I think people that are going to lose out are still waiting for the market drop so that it affirms their sentiment. But what's happening that we talked about last week is that people that have that sentiment and going for it are actually locking in house prices. Even if there's a little bit of price reduction, even if there's little concessions, they're getting in while everyone else who's still waiting for their sentiment to be confirmed. Yeah, exactly. And I think that if you're waiting for that dip, you might be on the outside looking in. I'm really sorry.
So I feel just as important as getting financially prepared right now, you also have to get mentally prepared. What I mean by that is, we're naturally afraid of what we don't know. And what we don't know is when the market's going to crash. So everybody's in fear of that. But when you have fear for those types of situations, I think it's even more important to find the examples, find those success stories like you mentioned right now, lean into those successes that other people have, gone through by utilizing the data that's out there, examples of people that consistently do this and have proven ways that they've had success through bad markets. And I think right now there's a lot of, good mentors out there. There's a lot of people that can give that information, but it comes down to just, having an internal checklist. Are you able to afford this? Yes. Do you want to afford this? No. But does your financial means allow for you to do it? Yes. Then it's more of a personal problem and trying to get yourself to make the decision rather than can I or can I not? I feel you mask it behind the, I can't buy that right now. But if you look at your finances, you look at your pre-approval, I know you can afford it. You look at your savings, you have a good, amounts of savings. If you're that type of individual right now and it's just your uncertainty or you're not knowing of what's going to happen, continuously keep moving forward because, like they said, 1 foot behind the other, you only see what that light in front of you could show. It's going to happen, but not if you're not consistently taking those actions.
No, so true, man.
I like that.
So true.
Yeah, be in hot pursuit. I like that.
Yeah, be in hot pursuit.
Yeah.